So welcome to another edition of our Wednesday Icon Talk. This is His Excellency the Car, and we have a special edition as we're going to show some of our Empower You conference, our main master class, which is Tenacity. You're going to have our master teacher, His Excellency Dr. Willis Eubanks, and other panelists such as Her Excellency Dr. Diane, Assistant Dean Apostle Dr. Adrian Jackson, Attorney Reverend Dr. Folashade Adeyemi, and Her Excellency Cairo Dr. Eubanks.
Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to our first masterclass. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to hear from some of my fellow panelists as I will be presiding over this panel, at least being included. Our master teacher is Dr. Willis Eubanks for masterclass number 1, Tenacity. His Excellency Dr. Willis Eubanks is Vice Chancellor of Global Overday Seminary and University. He mentors young people by serving as a Goodwill Ambassador for New Future Foundation, Inc., and the Jamaican chapter, UN NGO NFFI-JA. In December 2018, he was a recipient of the Made Man Distinguished Leader and Advocate for Change Award. He was among other over 60 men who were nationally and internationally distinguished in their respective areas to receive such an award. Currently, Dr. Willis is becoming a subject matter expert on cybersecurity, teaching courses in the following areas: A+, Security Plus, and Pen Test Plus. He's the CEO and founder of Take Action Now, a cybersecurity company specializing in cybersecurity and IT training. All right, Master Teacher, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you so much, Her Excellency Cairo, for the wonderful introduction. I thought it was interesting that today's topic is tenacity. What a word. And it turns out that tenacity is the word of the day in the state of Vermont. I thought about tenacity, just to give a little definition here. With regards to the word tenacity, tenacity is defined as persistent determination. It is considered a good character trait since tenacity will achieve a goal that's set. And so one of the things, with regards to GODSU, the graduation today, you guys had set a goal, you graduated. Now there are more goals to set, even more work to do. And so with that being said, I thought about, when I thought about tenacity, I thought about the little boy who's in the backyard and he sees this butterfly struggling to get out of its cocoon. And so what he does is, because he's young, he's 8, 9 years old, he takes a penknife and helps the butterfly. And by cutting a slit, and it just falls out like a blob. And he's very upset. He tells his grandfather, and his grandfather tells him, listen, in life, there are going to be valleys. Those valleys are to help us to grow and build character. That butterfly is persistent in getting through that tiny hole, but it's important because it leaves behind all the liquids and oils so that its wings can fly. Butterfly only has about 2 weeks to live once it becomes a butterfly, but that process is so important. And I think about that as a life lesson for all of us to learn. It's not through the victories that we learn, but it's through the defeats, it's through the challenges, it's through the valleys. And so with that being said, I wanted to ask a wonderful panelist here, before you speak, just to do a 1-minute introduction of yourself and tell me about an obstacle that you've overcome. So number 1, introduce yourself briefly and an obstacle that you've overcome.
Hello everyone. For those of you who may not know, my name is Her Excellency Cairo Eubanks. I'm the Director of the Junior Ambassador Program here, as well as the Director of Administration. And then outside of GODSU, I have my own business, Cairo Speaks, Cairo Writes, which is a leadership development and also ghostwriting firm. That being said, in addition to all of the different roles that I play on different committees, locally I'm on several different boards, and then internationally as well, representing our UN NGO, New Future Foundation at the United Nations as part of the Youth Steering Committee. as part of the Youth Steering Committee. I'm also Miss Broward County 2020, getting ready for Miss Florida. One example of tenacity, or one example of an obstacle that I've overcome there's definitely so many. I think one of the biggest ones has had to be when most recently was when I sustained a concussion, a stage 2 concussion in December 2019. So that wasn't actually very long ago. There was a 70-pound object that actually fell on my head and completely knocked me out. I was rushed to the ER. I know my family was very concerned about, if I'd be able to walk again or talk again in the same ways that I have. But one thing that I realized is that when it comes to being consistent and being persistent, we also have to listen to our bodies. And so if I'm given an opportunity to share more, I'll share about how meditation has helped to, increase my tenacity and my tenacious nature to continue to go forth with what God has called me to do. So who would you like for us to speak to next? Okay, alrighty. So Assistant Dean, Dr. Adrienne Jackson, she's an entrepreneur who's used her unique experiences in the Army, ministry, and business to minister locally and internationally. After transitioning out of the military, she founded Global Expert Solutions, LLC, a business consultancy agency. She also serves through her ministries, Prophetess Adrienne Jackson International Fire Ministries and Global Expert Solutions, LLC, among other community-based programs that target vulnerable and marginalized mothers and youth. You have the floor for a minute.
Good afternoon, everyone. One of the obstacles that the Holy Spirit is going to allow me to share is several years ago, I had to go through a major operation. And before I had the operation, I was very, very, very ill, and I was near death. And, the doctors, they didn't want to do the procedure. And they said, oh, we don't think you're going to make it. They said, do you have next of kin? And I said, I am going to be just fine. I'm going to be okay. Because I had faith in God that God was going to see me through the situation. And I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to give up. And when I had this particular operation, I already had 3 prior operations due to a surgery. And this was all while I was going to school to get my bachelor's degree. And so I was that confident and determined that I was going to make it because I had a goal to accomplish for the glory of God. And I finished school and I made it through. And here I am today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I wanted to ask our Chancellor if she can speak next. As you can see, she's our Chancellor, Dr. Diane Moore Eubanks, is the founder and Chancellor of GODSU. And as you can see, she's also crowned as Miss Senior Jamaica Universe. And I'm sure that if you haven't already seen the video of her crowning, you will very soon. Miss Galen Sahir, Miss Senior Sweetheart, Miss Israel Egypt Universe, and Miss Senior Florida USA now presents Attorney Dr. Diane Moore Eubanks as Miss Senior Jamaica Universe.
And I crown you as Miss Senior Jamaica Universe. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Woo!
Okay, thank you. And I would say one of the toughest things I faced growing up was not being reinforced in terms of my outer beauty. And it's funny because you're supposed to teach your children various things, but my daughters, my husband, my son are the ones that really reinforced my external beauty. So it's quite a shock for me that everybody else would see that, because growing up in Jamaica, in a country whereby the standards of beauty are more European, I think, than even America. If you're in Jamaica, you have dark skin, you have short hair, etc. It's not celebrated at all. And so coming to the United States and being embraced in terms of just the reception from folks, to me is very heartwarming. And so, a lot of people say, oh, you miss Jamaica. Yes, I love Jamaica and all of that. But I also love the diversity of standards of beauty that you see here in the U.S. In addition, I would say it would be a tie in terms of the toughest time would be back in 2009 when the market crashed and everything that my family went through. I'm sure you've read it in my bio. I'm not ashamed to say it, but even if you are the best at what you do, things can happen out of your control. But what's important is that you fight back, you get back up. You know, I never like slinkered and just went back to Jamaica and depended on my parents. I instead stayed here and through God fought and got back what I had lost, just like Job. So for those of you out there, when it comes to tenacity, don't give up. Don't give up. Thank you.
Powerful story. Thank you. Attorney Reverend Dr. Sade Esther Adeyemi. She's the CEO of Listening Ears, God's and Ours, a prayer and prophetic ministry which works with individuals, churches, and businesses. This is done through prayer and consultancy services. She's also one of the pastors at Harvest Springs, an apostolic and prophetic equipping hub committed to relate, inspire, support, and empower people to help them live fulfilled lives. You have the floor for a minute.
Thank you very much. One of the obstacles that I faced that I would just highlight in a minute is similar to Dr. Diane. We've got a lot of things in common. And that was when, again, during the crash in 2008, I had a law practice which I had to shut down. I faced eviction. I faced personal bankruptcy. And it was quite a lot. However, you know, that faith that I have on the inside by the grace of God, I fought my way. I refused to be put down. I refused to give up on my goals and dreams. And gradually through the years, I have been able to, again, by the grace of God, you know, start a prophetic school. I got ordained. I did the chaplaincy course at GODSU. Then I got the doctorate, and God has allowed me to influence people positively. So I'm all across social media, Sade Esther Adeyemi, encouraging people on a daily basis. And I'm privileged to be part of the GODSU Success Teach and Pray.
Awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
These are all great issues that you guys have overcome, and you know, some mentioned spirituality, faith. Are there any other tools out there that that you find that were helpful in terms of overcoming, in addition to the faith?
Can I share from meditative standpoint? So if you know anything about me, especially over the last 2 years, you know that meditation has been one of my biggest tools. I always say that when it comes to meditation, you know, it's like my form of, first I pray and then I listen to God, and God talks to me when I'm meditating. I remember when I first got the concussion in December 2019, I thought that a lot of things were going to have to change. I would no longer be able to compete in my first competition from Miss Broward County. I could no longer be able to uphold some of the commitments that I had to the community, or the responsibilities that I had, or some of the dreams and passions that I had for my business, Cairo Speaks, Cairo Writes. But what I realized was that that was limited thinking. I was already giving myself a prognosis that God hadn't given me, you know, and so through meditation, through helping myself, you know, helping my brain heal, being able to declutter my mind so that I could really be able to be laser focused on, you know, certain projects or certain tasks at hand to increase my efficiency, my time management. Meditation has definitely been a tool for me, you know, just outside of my support village or my community here at GODSU. I've been able to rely on myself and God to help me get through challenges just through meditating alone. So some of the things that used to get me all in like a bit of a twist, it no longer gets me in a twist. And you see that I stay pretty calm, cool, and collected for the most part, just because of meditation and what God has done for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll open it up to the panelists. Any other? I love the meditation. I love the spirituality, the faith. Any other tools that were helpful?
I like to say that for me, through my experiences that I've gone through many adverse situations, and that goes along with faith and what Her Excellency Cairo talked about, you know, meditating. But patience is very key in helping you to build up tenacity. And the reason why I say patience is important, one of the scriptures, the word of God says, I waited patiently upon the Lord. God is righteous in all matters, what he allows us to go through, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. And I found that by demonstrating patience to others, that gives them strength and that gives them courage to move forward. I'll just give you a quick example. When I was in a situation and I didn't have housing, and we were moving from, and I had young kids, we were moving from hotel to hotel. Like every 4 weeks we had to move from hotel to hotel. And we did that. I did that about 3 different time cycles, but God allowed me to go through that process. But when my son, one of my children, told me, Mom, if it wasn't for you, I would have never made it. So our children's children, and those that are going through situations similar to ours, they need to see our tenacity to not give up and to be patient and wait upon the Lord so that he can change our circumstances, because he's the one that changes our circumstances. So for me, it's patience. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Excellent tools. Dr. Diane, you have any reflections on that?
I find that prayer really helps, and taking a deep breath and not responding immediately. Because of I prayed for a spirit of discernment, and when I got it, I didn't realize it was so much work, because you see people coming even before they say something out of their mouth. And so because you see that, I have to not judge people, because if I see you coming and I see your spirit and I know what you're about, I know what you're going to do, I could just easily judge you and just wipe you out. So I've actually accepted folks who I know are basically troublemakers. And by the end of the day, they have been converted. I know they're helpful and everything else. I didn't start out that way, but that's why we don't just judge people. We give them a chance, even if we see what we see, because if we're placed in someone's life, it's for a reason, it's for a season, it's for a lesson. And so we can't walk away from that. So you may see somebody and you say, oh my goodness, they're going to be a handful. You don't walk away. You say, okay, Lord, they're my handful. All right. So what role am I supposed to play in facilitating that? So I would say using the spirit of discernment without being judgmental is my tool. Work with people where you find them. Right. Wherever they are.
One of the tools that I also use is self-affirmations, because there have been periods in my life, not through my parents, but through some kind of relationships where people have talked down and you've somehow accepted what they've said. So when I learned how to use self-affirmations, wake up in the morning and say those things that God says about me. I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, I'm resourceful, I have wisdom, I have tenacity, I have, good skills. And when I do that, you realize that you're building up your spirit. And then you begin to believe those things, because faith comes by hearing. And when you hear and hear and hear again, you believe those things and you begin to walk in them.
That's beautiful.
I like that.
That's wonderful. If you haven't noticed, I'm a male moderator, but there are females on the panel, and I have to say that I've probably learned a lot more from my girls than females than I have from growing up as a male, because males aren't necessarily judged on the outside external beauty, right? But the standard is so high for females, especially early on. I was listening to this mom and his dad talk about, they were at least a generation ahead of me, and I tried to take on what I learned from them, and that is have your young females compare themselves to themselves yesterday, not to anybody else, because God has made us all beautiful, especially the women. It's made beautiful flowers. They're all different sizes and shapes and colors. And if they were all yellow, it wouldn't be such a beautiful world, And so, it's one of the things that has been probably a challenge for me as I think about it, trying to, make sure that the girls, young ladies, understand that they're enough, they're beautiful, compare themselves to themselves yesterday, and look forward to the future. So that is, I think, wonderful, and it's great to hear you all as well talk about these things. One of the things as a male that has bothered me is some of my male counterparts in terms of how they don't value women the way they should. And and I noticed that even with the recent contest they had females, they were talking about gender bias, and I wanted to know, in the workplace or maybe just in the environment, have you felt that you were less valued by men, and how did that make you feel, and how would you motivate a young girl to feel about themselves in terms of not feeling bad if that same incident happened to them? And the reason I mention that is that I think it was a year ago we had a panel, and Dr. Diane had mentioned at work that she had issues with sexual harassment, and it actually that bothered me, because men must value not only themselves, but they should also value women, especially women, because we all come from a woman.
That's true. You quoted Tupac.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, and I know Dr. Jackson, and I love what you said about your son, saying that if it weren't for you, Mom, without your tenacity, you mirrored what tenacity looks like. Have you, as a male, ever come to you and devalue you, and how did you feel, and how would you share that experience with a young girl to make them feel better about themselves?
Wow, I dealt with a very, very tough situation years ago, sexual harassment, where I myself was physically touched and another female employee was physically touched. And we filed police reports. It was a very serious situation. But what hurt me to the core was when my supervisor, who had just finished law school and was studying for the bar exam, told me that what I experienced wasn't sexual harassment. And I was stunned. It took me a long time to get over that situation. But what I would share with other young ladies: know who you are, know your value as a child of God. You are just as beautiful, you are just as intelligent as any man or anyone else. And that irrespective what people say or do to you, you keep moving forward. You keep striving for your goals. Don't give up. Don't let one negative situation deter you from doing what you desire and what God has given you to fulfill in your life.
Great. Thank you for those great reflections.
Thank you. For me, it wasn't sexual harassment, but it was bullying by a male in the law environment. And this particular man, we couldn't say much because he was one of the partners in the firm. And he did this for year after year. When trainees come in, female trainees, he would really bully, he would shout, and he would make you feel really small and tell you would not succeed. Mm-hmm. And he did this for 16 years. Wow. And I'm always very happy to say that I'm the last person he did it to. So I didn't report him. I reported him not to the authorities, but to one of the judges, who said, you know what? Go study for your exams, get qualified, and then you can do whatever you want to do. But don't report him because you'll be labeled as a troublemaker. It was in a very small town at the time. So, my mom is a prayer warrior, and she just kept praying for me. And one day, even though it was a 2-partner firm, he was signed off, unfortunately, with depression, and he left, and I was still there. Aww. So I want to encourage young people, believe in yourself, just like it has been said. Believe in yourself. Don't let anyone put you down. Only believe what your maker says about you. Lift up your head up high, square your shoulders, and keep pushing on.
I like that.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Can I share just
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
briefly? And I want to say that it's quite interesting, Dr. Shadi, before I go into what I was going to say, it's quite interesting that he actually left due to depression. So he was dealing with his own demons within him. You see what I'm saying? Like he was battling within himself and he was projecting that out on other people, which is not okay. Sometimes one thing that one of my friends taught me is that when people are giving you trouble, when people are challenging you, or they're being rude to you and you don't know why, maybe sometimes it has more to do with them than you. You just happen to be an innocent bystander.
Yes.
You happen to be it's the wrong place at the right time, or the right place at the wrong time, whatever it may be. But with that being said, I have two examples. The first is that I was working internationally, and there was a donor who was actually giving a lot of money to the particular organization that I was a part of, and he was sexually harassing me while he was there, at the location. And in fact, I had several people who told me how uncomfortable they had felt. What did I do? I took action. I reported him to my supervisors, and I followed up just to make sure that he understood the consequences of his actions. Just because I was there and just because he was giving a lot of money, as a donor, did not mean that he could say or say anything that he wanted to anyone. The second is that I was dealing with serial harassment online. Once I graduated from college from the same person, and it turns out, even though I kept blocking him, it wasn't just me he was affecting. It turned out that there were over 30 other individuals when I did a call out on Facebook, and I got 150 comments, 30 people who told me that he had been harassing them, sending them inappropriate pictures or asking for inappropriate pictures or just different things of that nature, where he would not stop no matter how many times that it was reported. So not only did I report that to the police, but I took action and I created Operation Stop Cyber Harassment, which was an initiative that had over 240 registrants and 140 kids giving feedback saying that they really enjoyed the resources that were provided as it relates to what they can do when experiencing cyberbullying or cyber harassment, as a high schooler, as a college student, and also for parents as well to provide for their kids. So I say all of this just to say, if you notice with Tenacity, tying it into taking action, we didn't just stop there, whether it was mentally, we were preparing ourselves and arming ourselves, or we went to file a report and make sure that the authorities then took it over. We can't just stay still because we realize that we're setting an example for generations to come.
That's wonderful. Yes, it's wonderful.
Awesome.
I wanted to see if anyone had any final thoughts. I think that some of the takeaways here, we talked about spirituality being an important tool, patience, faith, meditation. I think in this Me Too era, we're at least talking about this. 20 years ago, we wouldn't have been talking about this.
True.
So I think, that gives, all of us hope. At least we're talking about it. So the next thing is to take action, such as Excellency Kyra has done. And so, whenever you see something that doesn't feel right, you need to report it. And, I'll just say that there was an incident that happened with a very close friend of mine, and it was very close and personal. But, I mentioned to him that it's not about how you feel or what you think you did. It's about how she feels. And if she feels, violated, or she feels that she was not valued, that's real to her. And even if you don't agree with it, at least acknowledge it. So empathy, so that I think that with coming generations, I think we'll continue to see progress in this area. So I don't know. I'd like to ask, if you have any closing thoughts. Last maybe.
I just want to encourage. Everyone. At Global Day Seminary University, we are global change agents, and nothing will change unless we're tenacious and have the boldness enough to go after what is wrong out there in the world to make a difference. Not so much for everybody, but there's a community that's in need, especially in our African American community. There's a need over in Africa and Jamaica and Haiti where our people are affected and often left behind or not even considered. So I just want everyone to be encouraged and have a spirit of tenacity to do what God has given you to do, to be a global change agent, to impact, to cause a change in your community or other places, wherever God sends you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Apostle Jackson, Dr. Jackson, for those wonderful words.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
That's beautiful.
You know, I was just reflecting. I know it's we're running out of time, but Bill Russell was being interviewed last night, and he said that no matter what, he was giving advice to somebody younger, and he said no matter what happened to him, he knew that his mom and his dad loved him. And he said that's what he carried with him. And I thought that was really powerful. So thank you so much for great words. On that note,
Dr. Sade, I believe, had something she
oh,
wanted
I'm
to
sorry.
say.
Yes, Dr. Sade.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, just closing remarks is continue to believe in the abilities that God has placed on the inside of you and or your creator, whatever it is you believe in. But continue to believe in yourself. Don't let anyone talk down to you. Don't react to them. You just stay focused and keep marching on. And eventually you'll achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. God bless.
Wonderful.
Amen.
I want to
Amen.
thank the wonderful panelists, Dr. Sade, Apostle Dr. Jackson, Dr. Diane, Excellency Cairo, for being wonderful panelists for this topic on tenacity. So I think we covered it well, and I know everyone took something home with them today. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed our masterclass. And now let's get started with our outstanding workers. Helping with public relations for GODSU, we have attorney Reverend Dr. Folashade Esther Adeyemi Chaplain, who is the CEO of Listen, Ears, Gods, and Ours, and she's also a God Success Teach and Pray co-host.
Thank you so much for that introduction. As you heard, it's Sade Esther Adeyemi. I am the CEO of Listening Ears, Gods and Hours, which comes under the umbrella of RSA, Reliable, Secure Advancement. What I do with my team and I as a prophetic counselor is we pray with you, discern God's voice together, and help you to take steps forward, whether that's in your ministry, your family life, your business, or your career. So, as the Assistant Dean of GODSU for the UK, I am so honored to have that position. What I intend to do for GODSU is to make them visible and aware, make people aware of the fact that this is such an institution, such a great institution that will help you with education. There's so many courses, and what I intend to do is to introduce people. I have quite a wide network of people. Of course, there's different classes of people, various people from different walks of life. So it's about sifting the right kind of people to introduce to GODSU so that they can be honored and recognized and further their education. Education is so important, and GODSU is the place to take that education further. If you would like to get in touch so that I can introduce you to this great institution, then please do. I'm all over social media as Sade Esther Adeyemi. If you want to contact me by email, it's shadeadeyemi555@gmail.com. You can also use the ministry email, which is listeningearsgo@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to contact me on my cell phone, it's +44 7951 784 515. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sade. Moving on, now we have Kristen Fenrick, who's doing administrative work for GODSU. Kristen Fenrick Chaplain, CEO and founder of Clearly Kristen Inc.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for having me here. So yes, my name is Kristen Fenrick, and I'm the founder and CEO of Clearly Kristen Inc. We help businesses and brands tell their story. Back when COVID-19 first happened, we saw that it was a need for many of the business owners that I was dealing with and women entrepreneurs over 40 to find ways that they could still be able to reach the marketplace. And so through my company, we have established things where we set up people with their websites and make sure that their brands have everything that they need so that people know who they are, what they do, and how they can find them. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit more about who I am and some of the work with GODSU. GODSU is an amazing organization. Ever since I've come on board with them, I've been able to see right away the impact that they're having, not just locally, but the impact that they're having all over the world. Part of my mission with GODSU is to be able to help them change and transition some of their things, even to where they are now having more of their online courses and more of their things and their administrative techniques be even more 21st century. So it's super exciting to be a part of this growth and a part of the process as we all move into using technology more for all of our businesses. So the best way to reach me is on my social channels. So you can find me on Instagram at Clearly Kristen, and that's clearly spelled with a K. And you can also find me on Facebook at Clearly Kristen and on LinkedIn at Clearly Kristen. You can also reach me on my email. My email is kristen@clearlykristen.com. And you can find me at my phone number is area code 832-978-8283. Most of my clients reach out to me via Instagram because that is my favorite place to be. And so I always encourage all my women entrepreneurs to get on Instagram. It's so much fun, and finding out things like reels and all of that. Man, we can have some fun with that. Don't get me started with that. So if you're ready to have some fun, make your brand kind of stand out in a different way, make sure you reach out to me. And I'm Kristen. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. We have our GODSU Chancellor, the Right Honorable Her Excellency Reverend Dr. Diane Moore Eubanks, JD Chaplain, and she's the Miss Senior Florida USA and Miss Senior Jamaica Universe.
Helping with administrative work for GODSU, we have Dean His Excellency Dr. Willis Eubanks Chaplain, who is the CEO of Take Action Now It Inc., DBA Tannin.
Also helping with administrative work for GODSU, our GODSU Executive Administrator, Her Excellency Dr. Arlene Span Chaplain, who is the founder of Arlene Sweats.
Administering with professorship, Dean His Excellency Dr. Michael V. Roberts Chaplain, who's the CEO of Roberts Riverwalk Hotel, author and of Action Has No Season 2.0.
We have helping with administrative work and public relations for GODSU, Assistant Dean Apostle Dr. Adrian Jackson Chaplain, who's the president and owner of Global Expert Solutions, LLC, and is a God Success Teach and Pray co-host.
Helping with NFFI JA STEM, Assistant Dean Dr. Daniel Porte, MBA, HCS, CPC, CPRW, MPM, HRPM, SHRPM, GODSU Board Director and member, and also a GODSU Assistant Dean of Online Courses, and he's also the CEO of Professional Management Enterprises, Inc.
And we have helping with administrative work and public relations for NFFI JA, our Queen Mother, Her Excellency Dr. Delois Blakely Chaplain, who's the president of New Future Foundation, Inc.
Helping with paralegal and administrative work, Director Her Excellency Cairo D.R. Eubanks, UNCSR CLC CEC Chaplain, who's the CEO of Cairo Speaks and Cairo Writes.
Public relations for NFFI JA, Attorney Andrea Moore Esquire, who's GODSU Jamaican spokesperson for NFFI Jamaica.
Doing PR for GODSU, Dr. Kevin J. Suber, Chaplain, who's the president, founder, and chief visionary officer of the Super Group.
We have a remainer helping with public relations, Dr. Grace Ini Ekpenyong, Chaplain, who's the founder of the Janet Foundation.
Eva J. Pierce Brown, chaplain, former president of the Ministers' Wives and Widows of Fredericksburg and vicinity, and currently serving as chaplain.
And I'd just like to say hello to everyone. I am chaplain Eva J. Brown. I'm retired and I'm a retired executive administrator for Habitat for Humanities. And I am just so elated to be a part of this great organization and team. One of the things, though, even though I'm retired, I still do a lot of work within the community. I do a lot of teaching for women's group. I'm also the chair for our forerunners at my church, which is everyone 55 and older. However, even though retired, God has really kept me in the forerunners as far as moving ahead. One of the things I love about this great organization is that I felt like it gave me a great challenge. And with this challenge, it has made me want to really share. By working in the professional world for administrator, founder of a school, worked for the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, I have so many friends who I had to just share about this great organization with. So it is a pleasure. And so that's one of the reasons why I just love the challenge that has been given to us just even upon graduation. So a lot of times we don't like to say we're newbies, but I'm a newbie, but I'm excited for this organization. And I'm excited about to see what the Lord is going to do, not just by using me, by using those of us who are part of this organization. And I thank you. You may reach me at Eva J. Brown 1954 at gmail.com. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Chaplain Eva Brown did a phenomenal job sending a lot of students as well. We have our Assistant Dean, Dr. Cecilia Wilson Smith Chaplain, who's the founder of the Strong Sisters of Strength, SOS Ministries, Inc.
Thank you. I am Dr. Cecilia Smith, founder and CEO of Strong Sisters of Strength Ministries. I am called to coach and mentor women into living their very best life. I also teach people how money works and how to retire with dignity. We are a ministry of intercessors constantly praying for others. I'm also chaplain and assistant dean at Global Ovid Day Seminary and University. Also, I would like to share that GODSU has literally empowered and exposed me to a global community of world leaders. Thus, each day, I have opportunity to serve as a marketplace minister on Teach and Pray, sharing the word of God with a global community full of servant leaders. In addition, I would like to share that you can follow me on my website, which is www.strongsistersofstrengthministries.com. Let me say that again, www.strongsistersofstrength.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dr. Smith_Cecilia or Yes, You Matter 3. You may also email me at ceciliasmith83@yahoo.com. You may also follow me for daily inspiration on Facebook at C, that's my first initial for Cecilia, C. Wilson Smith, or Sisters of Strength, or Strong Sisters of Strength Ministries Incorporated Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assistant Dean Reverend Dr. Leo Pickett, chaplain, CEO of Leo's Worship and Praise.
We have Assistant Dean Reverend Dr. Sandra Norris Deckard, chaplain, who is the First Lady and co-pastor of the Greenhouse International Church, and she's also the owner and physician at Genesis Health and Clinic Spa, and is a GODSU Assistant Dean of Chaplaincy Program.
Designate Terrence Winslow, LSSBB, 20-year Army retired veteran, author, and strategic management consultant. And he's also the founder of Bravado Investments, LLC, DBA B360.
And we have our Assistant Dean, our Reverend Dr. Lalithia Davis Chaplin, who is the CEO and founder of Dior to Live in Overflow, and she's also a God Success Teach and Pray co-host.
Dr. Saray Ray Martin, chaplain, retired Army major, and CEO of Extreme Government Solutions.
And we have our Miss Black Florida Talented Team, the Miss Black USA title holder for the Sunshine State, Sudan A.L. Eubanks, who's the CEO of Sudan Dolls, Games, and Apps. And she's also on the God Success Teach and Pray as a co-host.
Hi everyone, I am Sudan Eubanks. As said before, I am the Miss Black Florida Talented Teen for the Miss Black USA pageant system. I am shortly going to be traveling to Washington, D.C. on August 5th for the competition for the title of Miss Black Talented Teen. You can support me in my pageant journey on my website, sudaneubanks.com. Here at GODSU, I am part of the Junior Ambassador Program that really cultivates youth and ensuring that they have the leadership skills as well as the potential for the future. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And we also have for administrative work, Director His Excellency Dakar Eubanks Chaplin, who is the CEO of Dakar Marketing Tool.
Yes, thank you. As she said, I am yours truly, your MC, and I am His Excellency Dakar, who's the Director of Operations at GODSU, and I'm the CEO of Dakar Marketing Tools. We're an international graphic and printing company providing you with all of your marketing needs to help you and your company grow. You can see some of our popular products. We have rings, branded rings, pins, and we have branded golf shirts and branded jackets. You can see myself and our chaplain, Eva Brown. She's wearing hers as well as the ladies that were on as well. And we also have our GODSU African American History Bibles as well that feature not only Africans that were in the Bible, but also historical African Americans that are in the fields of medicine and politics, government, and so on. And you also have the opportunity of being featured in our GODSU Bible as well, with your name, picture, and bio. In addition, we also provide merchandise that is crucial to your businesses, such as our magazine. In all of the ladies that spoke today were featured in our May edition 2021. You can see that it's on the screen there. We got a lot of great feedback from it. We also do banners, flyers, digital business cards, as well as printed business cards. And with our innovative tools, you can turn your brick and mortar into an e-commerce platform. During this time of constant Zoom meetings and webinars, we at Dakar Marketing Tools will make sure you're prepared with our Zoom for Profits course. You can follow the information on the screen to register on demand. Some of the courses will cover how to make money doing Zoom, Zoom Essentials, Zoom Basics, and turning your brick and mortar into an e-commerce platform. But I also want to give a shout out and extend a special appreciation to those GODSU leaders listed above who have volunteered many hours. We appreciate those who have provided actual names, emails, and phone numbers of referrals. GODSU is grateful for the opportunity to add workers of God to our database, as well as register for our educational programs. And also, if you enjoyed that masterclass that we had, you can join our live Empower You conference that we're going to have December 2021. The information is on the screen for how to register. And if you enjoyed the show, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. and be sure to stay tuned as we have some more information that follows. Thank you.
Global Ovid Day Seminary and University GODSU is a 501c3 interfaith e-learning Global Florida Department of Education Commission of Independent Studies approved degree issuing religious institution of higher learning under Florida Statute 1005.061F in Miramar, Florida, a suburb of Fort Lauderdale suburbs. Our curricula include programs like our theology diploma, bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs, which are designed for students called to the ministries of teaching and preaching. Program enrollees include pastors, evangelists, missionaries, and laypersons. Our additional courses: Entrepreneurial Studies, premier self-development courses on wealth building. We also offer a mini course for youth, the Junior Ambassador Youth Public Speaking, to gain professional and personal skills. Chaplaincy Diploma, Love and Spiritual, Interfaith, and Christian programs. Chaplains are trained, certified leaders attached to either a religious and/or non-religious institution or organization. Cybersecurity IT courses. Our licensed instructor has a 95% pass rate compared to the 30% national average for CompTIA accredited courses, such as Security Plus and Network Plus. 40% of our alum who've gone through our prestigious GODSU honors programs have also previously matriculated through their earned doctorate programs. Our alum include physicians, ambassadors, statesmen and stateswomen, icons and billionaires, religious leaders, titans in business, global philanthropists such as Ambassador of Ghana to the United States, His Excellency Dr. Bafor A.J. Bewa, Ambassador of Nigeria to the United States, His Excellency Dr. Sylvanus Musafor, Billionaire Builder and Dean, His Excellency Dr. Michael V. Roberts, former Maritime Minister, Government of Nigeria, Honorable Dr. Leke Olawale, President of Fraser Net and Fraser Nation and Power Networking Conference, Dean, His Excellency Dr. George Fraser. Our world-class and esteemed professors include Attorney Her Excellency Reverend Dr. Diane Moore Eubanks, PhD, Chancellor, Physician Dr. Eric Bizetsky, Clinical Health and Nutrition and GODSU Medical Expert, Physician Her Excellency Rhoda Makinde, PhD, Chief Medical Doctor, GODSU, Medical Missions, Dean Michael V. Roberts, JD, PhD, Dean of Entrepreneurship Studies, Dean George Fraser, PhD, Personal Development Studies, Dean Kyra Eubanks, Dean of Junior Ambassador, Professor Willis Eubanks, PhD, Dean of Cybersecurity Program, Professor Reverend Dr. Joseph Hickman, Associate Professor, Theology Program, Professor Imam Dr. Talib Sharif, Professor Interfaith Program and Chaplaincy, Professor Reverend Dr. William Blake, Theology Program Curriculum Development, Professor His Excellency Dakar, Ethical and Successful Marketing Techniques,